Standard 10th, Subject History, Chapter number 1, Historiography, Development in the West. Historical research, writing and studies are carried out with an objective of understanding the chronology of the past events and their interconnections. Chronology means the arrangement of events or dates in the order of their occurrence. What occurred first is written first, and what occurred later on is written afterwards. This particular process is continuous. In the physical and natural sciences, the empirical method, that is, laboratory method of experiments and observation, is used to verify the available knowledge. See, we can always go back and check in the laboratory, do experiments and confirm whether the observations were correct or not. This is known as empirical method. This method allows formulating laws that remain true irrespective of the time and space. How much ever time passes, these laws do not change. Whether they are applied in India or somewhere else, the place does not matter. The laws remain true. Those laws can be tested and proved repeatedly. But in historical research, it may not be possible to use the method of laboratory experiments and observation. Why? Because we were not present in the historical time and space, and the historical events cannot be recreated. We have heard about government agencies recreating the scene, enacting the scene of crime at the place where it happened, but the same is not possible in history. Also, in history, it is not possible to formulate laws that remain true irrespective of the time and space, because with the passage of time, the events change, the circumstances change, and the same circumstances are not present in different places. To begin, we need an expert who knows the language and script of a historical document in order to read it and understand its meaning. Also, the experts can examine the authenticity of the document, that is the trueness of the document, by using criteria such as lettering style, author's style of writing, manufacturing date and type of paper, stamps of authority, etc. See, in different times the lettering style differs. In different places the lettering style differs. Also, every author has a particular style of writing. In some places, the manufacturing date of the particular document can be known. The type of paper that was used in that particular time is commonly known. So if we are having a modern paper, modernly printed, modernly made paper on which an old document is printed, we know that this is not the original document. The manuscript or the document has been printed recently. Such a document is further scrutinized, that is tested or examined by a historian with the help of relevant historical references. He or she will compare the particular document with the references that are available in the libraries and archives. Methods of various disciplines are useful in historical research. For example, archaeology, archival science, manuscriptology, epigraphy, that is study of inscriptions on the stone or metal, analysis of lettering style, linguistics, numismatics, that is study of coins, genealogy, which means study of lineage, etc. Archaeology is the study of human history through the examination and the excavation of sites. They dig in the earth and they find out the prehistorical items, the artifacts that are buried underground. That is archaeology. Manuscriptology means the study of handwritten documents. Inscriptions means what is etched on the stone or metal. Linguistics means the study of language. Lineage means study of ancestry, the direct descent from our study of our ancestors, our fathers and forefathers. So they have given a table here, historical research method and writing of historical narrative. We will be talking about this table in the next paragraph. Tradition of historiography. We have learnt about the historical research method, critically examining the historical sources and writing the historical narrative. The writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography, and a scholar who writes such a narrative is called a historian. So if a 1 mark question is asked on historiography, this particular sentence will be the answer. Now the table tells us that the historical research method is writing of historical narrative. What does it include? It includes examining relevant references of the available historical information. Whatever we have in hand, we have to examine that first. Collecting historical information, highlighting the processes that lead to historical transitions, that is changes, carrying out comparative analysis. We need to compare the documents and the information that we have got, and then we need to proceed further. Understanding the references regarding time and space of the given historical events, and also various conceptual frameworks used in historical research method. Now in relation to time, when did that particular event happen? Space, where did it happen? All these references we need to understand and then proceed with our research. Formulating relevant questions in view of the historical references. Critical research means asking questions of whatever information we have got. We need to ask, was this true? How true it was? How did it happen? Why did it happen? All these things when we formulate and the questions that we ask, it gives us a further push towards the research, historical research. Then we need to formulate hypothesis. Hypothesis means imaginary situations. Was it true that a particular thing happened? What if this was not supposed to be like this? What if the person was not present there? What if this did not happen? All these questions we need to ask and find out the answers so that our historical research is perfect. Critically examining of various sources of history. Again, whatever sources of history that we have, written, oral, all the resources we need to use, and we need to ask critical questions to find out the real answers. The historian cannot include every past event in his narrative. This is not possible. The inclusion and interpretation of historical events by the historian often depends on the conceptual framework adopted by him. Every historian uses a particular concept, a particular limited area of expertise to find out the history that had happened, to find out the trueness of the events that had happened. The tradition of writing historical narrative, that is historiography, was not prevalent in the ancient societies of the world. This is very recent that we have started writing history through historiography. However, that does not mean that they were not eager to know about it. They wanted to know about it, but they did not know how. Ancient people also felt the need of passing on the stories of the life and valor of the ancestors to the next generation. Valor means courage. How courageous they were. All the events, the stories of the life of the ancestors was passed on from one generation to the other. Ancient communities all over the world used various means like cave paintings, storytelling, singing songs and ballads, etc. for this purpose. Ballad is a poem or a song through which we are telling a particular story. It's a musical story. These traditional means are looked upon as the sources of history in the modern historiography. Modern historiography takes into account all these stories, folk tales, songs, folk songs, so that they can keep the history updated, the documents of the history updated. These are very important sources of history.